What are we even doing here? We're gonna take a look. It's in a book, Out to Conquer the World, the King Oscar Brand Through 100 Years by John G. Johnson. Yeah, so this was like a book that somebody was showing off on r/canned sardines, and I had to have it. And it's out of print. I had to go on eBay and find the one copy of it that was on sale anywhere in the world. They had some crappy picture of the cover, but arrived the other day. And it looks like pretty good, man. It looks like kind of a small press thing. It's like a pretty book, but like, yeah, look. And I took a cursory look through it, tried to get some thoughts together. I thought I'd share some of my favorite parts with you. Actually, quite a lot of parts with you. So I don't know how long this is going to take, but we're going to have a good old time looking at a book. Yeah, there's a lot of cool pictures in here. Look at this. Yeah. Look at these boys catching them sardines. Yeah. Pretty normal stuff here. It's translated. So this book is like in dual Norwegian. Can't read any of that. And English. Oh, goody. And there's a little glare here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this can of Kipper snacks here to kind of support this side of the book. And that's going to make a crinkle sound every once in a while. Okay, so there's a lot of nice pictures in here, of course. Yeah. There's one feature of the book that I really like is every page over here, every right-hand page has got a picture of a little tin. So you get to see a lot of the little King Oscar tins through the years. And they're ones that I'm not familiar with. They're mostly oldies. Yeah. Let's see. I marked all the pages, and they give us a history about like the brand and stuff. Like the company was started by this Christian Bjelland guy in Norway. Yeah, and I think this is him on the left here. Handsome fella. Yeah, and this is them. I think they took this little exhibit around to show off their deans. Yeah. And there's, a little bit of a history of canning in general. They say, okay, in 1881, France was doing most of the work because they're, after all, the people that had invented canning like food, So they're making all the, I'm not sure if this is sardines or just canned food in general, but you see Norway, 1881, they don't have much going on. Yeah. And here's a little picture of a French operation of the time. Throughout the book, no matter what the topic is, I think they tried their best to find photos that were like period specific, even if it's not exactly what they're talking about. I understand. It's tough to do this kind of thing. It's kind of like a documentary in a book from my perspective. Okay. Old stuff, but we see the word anchovies here. Very interesting. Got some nice old boats. Crossed fish. We see this is kind of like an idea. Yeah. This is probably a later advertisement than the stuff they're talking about here. They're talking about like the Norwegian sardine industry kind of getting started. They were doing herring and bristling. Yeah. They're saying it really picked up around 1902 or so. Or 1902 is when they got to license the King Oscar sort of likeness and name to market the sardines. This Christian Bjelland was a pretty shrewd guy, it seems. Yeah. Okay. Just more of this kind of early Dean trade happening here. Look at these guys on the boats. Yeah, working them brislings. some of these bookmarks, I don't know what I was thinking. Here's some really great pictures. Look at this. Yeah. I mean, this is basically, I don't think if you go to Poland and look at the, you know, the factories that King Oscars are put together in today, they don't look like this. But geez, you know, when you look at those videos of, you know, conservas penais or whatever, like, this isn't so far off from what they're doing, you know? I think this is the smoking. Yeah, this is the smoking. Smoking of the fish was man's work. You hear that, ladies? But here's some work for ladies. That's right, packing the fish into little cans. You know, I guess they just tended to separate these kinds of things, you know? I don't know if that was just the way it was, or if it was kind of like, hey man, we don't want to pay anybody a certain amount, and then, you know, you just don't want to pay women that much. Who knows what it is? Who knows what it is, you know? We're still getting past all that, right? Right, ladies? La la la. Oh, another glorious picture. Yeah. Like, I mean, still pretty much looks like this when you see those, like, Portuguese factories. Totally. Totally. And here's where the sardines are being steamed, I guess, before they're canned. So they're in these little vessels here. God, it's beautiful. It looks like this picture, some of these photos are kind of weird to me. I don't understand the process, because, like, they look like they've been retouched or something. I don't know. I mean, you know, it looks like a photo, but, like, look at this guy's face. Look at this guy's face. It's kind of weird. And, like, this should be blurry, you know? I think maybe where the faces were really blurry from the photography, they went and retouched it to make it, like, make the faces read. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Okay. Yeah, this guy's working. See how, like, this lady's face is really blurry, but, like, you know, it's like you kind of retouch that in this fashion. It's almost like how you upscale a photo with AI today, and it kind of looks a little funny, but, you know, it does the trick. Most people don't think about it. God, look at those cans pumping out of that press there. He's making the cans. Yes, out to conquer the world. I think that was one of their little slogans back then. And here's the handsome guy himself, King Oscar. They talk about him a little bit, you know. To be totally honest with you, I'm not that interested in history, you know. And this book really gets into sort of the businessy stuff, which is a little fascinating, and I'm gonna breeze through it, you know. Obviously, you can pause this video anywhere you want and kind of read all this crap. Okay. Interesting. They put these, like, ads here to, like, you know, I think this is like an ad campaign that they started in the 80s, right? It looks like I noted Absolute Vodka, because it kind of looks like an Absolute Vodka advertisement. And look, oh geez, you know, who wasn't the first person to use chopsticks with sardines, huh? They made a little dollar sign. This would have been like kind of an apt thing at the time, because you know, in the 80s there was all this sort of anxiety about Japan's economy, like, booming and taking over the world, or whether, of course, that never came to pass. Japan went into a recession that lasted for like 1,000,000 years, you know, and now they're just good old Japan. Yeah, I think we can. Now I had it to where, like, oh, geez, I don't want to miss anything, but I gotta believe myself that I bookmarked it. Okay, look at this fella. Yeah. I mean, a lot of this stuff, you know, for somebody like me that lives in the 21st century, I just look at these kind of older advertising, you know, posters and stuff, and they just, I don't know, they They all kind of look the same to me. My brain sort of like filters that stuff out because I don't really know, even as a consumer, how to parse what I'm saying, because ads are so different today, you know? Beautiful. Okay, let's skip to where I have this thing here. Oh yeah, I thought this was pretty. Yeah. So like they had a lot of different brands, not just you know, the Bjelland, but there were a lot of canneries in Norway that were competitors. Yeah. Okay, here's something. Something about this book was that I found some of the historical stuff is a little out of order, so I kind of was going back and forth. This is the letter authorizing Bjelland Company to use King Oscar's likeness. Yeah, that's cool. It's history. Okay, yeah, another one of these. Okay, this is a picture of a French operation here. And then they talk about this British guy called Angus Watson. I guess he was an importer in the UK. Where in the UK? For you folks, Newcastle upon Tyne. I don't know where that is. Is that in England? Anyway, he had a brand called Skippers, and that was like I think sort of a competitor to King Oscar. He was bringing in sardines from the Bjelland Company, but I think he had some other suppliers, and those are branded as Skippers from whenever they were made. Probably in Norway as well. It's not obvious from reading this how started up the you know, the UK canning industry was at this point. This is the Skippers guy. Okay, here's a nice aerial photograph, though I think it's from maybe the 70s or 80s or something. So it's not like the, you know, the era of Norwegian canning in full swing, but this is Stavanger, which is where the Christian Bjelland operations were based for, you know, I think until 1950s, 60s or something, and then they started to go different places. The 30s, there's like a downturn of sales or whatever, and they tried to create like a national body to regulate, you know, Norwegian canneries. No new canneries, you know. They did a little bit of price fixing for domestic sales, and export sales were still whatever the various companies wanted to go after. And then within Norway, they decided, let's create like an advertising fund. And that's the same way you see where it's like, hey, you know, beef, it's what's for dinner or something. It's like all the beef farmers they don't want to put national ads on TV. They just want to get together and say, hey, everyone in America, you guys should all be eating more beef, you know? The idea being that a rising tide lifts all ships or whatever. Yeah, so that's what they were thinking. And interestingly enough, since the Christian Bjelland Company was such a big firm, they weren't that interested in doing this because they were like half of the exports. So, you know, they had less incentive to band together because they would be, you know, they would be responsible for raising most of the money to sell other companies' sardines, you know? But I think they still went through with it. There's another glorious photo. This is starting to look a little bit more, you know, mid-century versus those older pictures, you know? This is starting to look like a modern outfit. So I guess they just They bring you a big tray of sardines. You grab it off the conveyor belt there, and then you got your empty cans, and you just braid them up. Look at those, huh? And this is a stand at an exhibition, so they must have had some kind of, you know, maybe not the World's Fair, but some kind of expo, and you know, they set up their little fantastic world of Norwegian sardines here. Yeah. And so I guess there's a lot of people trying to sort of bite the look of King Oscar because they were so successful. So we have a lot of like kind of similar brands. Here's I just thought this was interesting. This is like somebody's sketch. Like, hey, we're trying to make this thing look a lot like King Oscar. Check it out. This was like I believe like a Swedish brand or something. Yeah. Yeah, and then this next chapter outlines kind of a big lawsuit that they had with King Gustav. I mean, you see what's going on here. Yeah, that's pretty close. The red is really what seals it. I think they won. I don't know. Well, they came out the other side anyway. And you see all these guys, like King Carl, King John, King David, King Arthur. You know, now we're getting a little ridiculous here, huh? Okay. So, you come out of the war. I guess not much happened during the war. People were busy doing other things. The old advertising fund was still kicking, and they were focusing on the American market, I think. Look to Norway. That was like their slogan at the time. I think that's from like Winston Churchill. One of his famous wartime speeches, where the Norwegian merchant navy had been highly praised, huh? So, Oh, and like we like a supermarket shot, huh? This is like what we see a lot of the time on r/canned sardines. Is hey, this is what we got at the grocery store. I think it's fun that they colorize this one little bit there. But you see codfish cakes. Gorton's codfish cakes. They're not just in the freezer section. And yeah, a lot of crab meat. Here's some sardines. Paramos. Don't quite see what that is. Crown sardines. Is that like Crown Prince? Who knows? Who knows? It's just so much of that going on in terms of the branding. Oh, here's some Japanese print ads here. Look at that. Get 'em sardines for Christmas. And then they have a little cookbook section here, which, you know, here's some recipes. Not gonna happen. But look at this. Somebody made some sardine tempura. Yeah. Jeez. Sardine tarts. Looks okay. So as the outfit gets modernized, look, we've got ships where they just freeze the sardines as soon as they bring them up. These are blocks of frozen sardines. I'm sure this is like pretty similar to what it looks like today, even though this picture might have been taken in the 60s or 70s. These are these are like QC people. Yeah. I think I highlighted these two paragraphs because I thought they were pretty fun. The newspaper reports about the new central cannery were many and enthusiastic. At times, you could be led to believe that the reporter had developed a personal attachment to each and every bristling that was tenderly placed into its own sardine tin to be sent out into the world beyond. It was almost with a feeling of sadness that one read of the birth of each new King Oscar sardine having then to be placed into a tin and forced to leave its nice home to join its place on the supermarket shelves somewhere in the world. As a customer, one almost felt obliged to run to the store and give the sardines a new home. That sounds like some amazing bull crap that I would say on Canned Fish Files, you know? Yeah, very funny, Matt, but you're not one of the folks that has to listen to yourself. People like New Dean's listers, Adrian and Javelin, and fishy freaks like Ben Raber, hey Ben, and Elon M. Thanks again to all the Patreon people. Back to the show. Yeah, so this is really trying to sell them in the 70s. And then, of course, they have like a downturn in the 70s. And partly was because they'd found oil in Norway. And so a lot of the skilled labor and everything kind of went to the oil industry. So, you know, nobody wants to pack sardines when they could be drilling oil, I guess. Yeah. And, you know, I think things changed. I mean, you know, sardines, probably not as many people ate them going in the 70s and 80s. That's kind of when you get to the place where I grew up, where, you know, sardines are regarded as kind of a weird food. See, here's a great advertisement. There's no conclusive evidence that King Oscar sardines are an aphrodisiac. Sorry, we can't prove it. But what is proven is that King Oscar sardines are a delicious, versatile, savory delight. I got a savory delight for you. Pretty. What a pretty place. You know, anywhere where you have like mountains visible from the sea, you know, to me is a special place. Beautiful picture. Look at these things come up. Yeah. A little bit more Dean propaganda. Remember this comic strip? Hagar the Horrible? Hagar? I don't know. This is fun. Look at the Deans coming down this little flume here. Pure kosher, right? That's cute. You know, they made the sort of the United Orthodox symbol that they put on food, huh? So they had like a downturn in the 70s, and then the 80s. I must have skipped past, but photographically it's not that interesting. In the 80s, they kind of amalgamated. So there's like all the Norwegian canneries got together, and, you know, they had to make some hard decisions because not all of them could survive. They just figured, let's try to save what we can. And this book is before, like, they moved the operation to Poland, so they don't talk about that. You know, I think that was in like 2008. Because they had a lot of cooperation with the, they called it the Norway Foods, which is like sort of the amalgamated canneries of Norway. Yeah. Look at this, funny looking. Just these colors are so garish for a food advertisement. It's just like the way the film looks, you know? Yeah. This is pretty. A royal fish makes a royal dish. It's true. Yeah. This is a really handsome picture of King Oscar. Might use this as a source for when I need a picture of him. Yeah. Look at these. Pure jogging. Pure KO. Ooh, sick. Usyk. Yeah, he did it, you know? Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, that guy. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So many of my know-it-all friends thought Fury was going to whoop him, and he came out there and did what he did, you know? I can't wait for the rematch, just like I can't wait for the next episode of Canned Fish Files. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.